We started out talking in the studio about the online class. Would you mind telling me a little bit how you experienced the videotaping of the online class in comparison with having a bunch of students in front of you?
Well, I was very resistant to the idea of online teaching when it first came in, and you know, when I was still teaching at the university and everybody was excited about the new technology, which was really primitive at the time. My husband taught a course from our home, and everybody dialed in and they just had a microphone, there was no video. And I couldn't imagine how you could teach pottery online. But I have seen your courses, I've heard really good things about them, and having experienced it now, I find it very, from the presenter's point of view, a great venue because I can talk, I don't get interrupted, I can focus on things, everything is set up to be done, and it's very calming to actually just sit there and get the idea across without much distraction. Mm-hmm. So I've really enjoyed what we've been doing.
And you've seen some of the videos. Are you surprised to see how close the video can come to your hands and inside the pot?
Yeah, and I've never seen myself making things, so it's fun to see that.
But it can also be scary. I know with me sometimes, if, you know, when Chris comes so close by, I suddenly see some things that I've not seen before, right in the center of the pot.
Yeah.
So he's coming, he's really giving everybody a front seat with this.
Yeah, he even has looking down inside the pot when it's going around, and usually that's just me that gets to see that.
Or if you do it at a workshop, there's a few people that get the opportunity to see close up, and then the others needs to fight for a spot, for a second spot.
Yeah.
So let's wrap up and quickly discuss the different techniques. What I really would like to know is I just want for you to touch kind of for the uninformed person. Just give them an overview of what you got here in front of you.
The first one, I'll go back. This is Raku, and I've been doing Raku for almost 50 years, since 1967, 68, and I started with Paul Soldner. So this is the one I'm the most familiar with. And I fired some slabs and this piece. And we're firing in a tiny little kiln that I made just for this workshop. The second thing I was doing in chronological order was saggar firing. And I've tried the sawdust in the trash can and brick saggars, and then I taught a class at Dan Finch's on Raku Masters, and I learned a lot from Linda and Charlie Riggs about using ceramic saggars. So this is where I really started getting results that I like. Then I was teaching, well, first I was on Ceramic Arts Daily, which I'm on quite a bit, and a student posted a beautiful piece that was done with foil saggars, and I had never seen a finish like that before, and so I was asking, what is that? And she said, I just took a workshop with somebody, and this was called aluminum foil saggar. And so I started researching that and playing around with it, and I really love it. So that's one of them, and these two are the foil saggar. And I learned a lot more when I was teaching a workshop up at Edina, Minnesota, with the Potters Council. Ken Turner was there, and he was doing foil saggar, so he really pushed me a little bit farther to do some more exploration. I like to look at what people are doing around the world in ceramics, and I came across a woman, Jane Jeremy, who was videotaping and doing YouTubes of Obvara, which I knew nothing about, but I loved her work. And so these two pieces are Obvara, And I loved the finishes and the contrast of the clay and what she was doing. So I started to play with very heavily textured surfaces, and you can see how it responds. Now, Obvara is a medieval technique from Eastern Europe, and some people call it Baltic Raku. But it's a way that people used to seal pots back in the rural areas in the Middle Ages. Now, Janice Chassier from Maryland, I think she's from Maryland, has done a lot of research. She's gone to Eastern Europe. She's interviewed a lot of people. And she wrote an article in Ceramic Technical about it. And I'm in there, Jane Germain is in there, quite a few other people. Up in Smoke, Chad District, I think his name is, from South Carolina is in there, but his potter's called Up in Smoke. And he's one of the few Americans I know who's doing that. So this is Obvara again, and it's a process where you dip the piece into a fermented bucket of flour and yeast and pull it out real fast, and this burns onto the surface, and that's it, they're done.
Well, that's amazing. You know, and I've not watched the full online course yet. Chris still needs to show it to me some other time. But I know that you've showed them some of the techniques that you've done, like for instance showing them how you get this form, and a little bit about the texture, how you obtain the texture on there with the different pieces. So there's a lot more than just the firing technique that you're offering the people. Marcia, you're not through learning.
No, I hope not.
Well, listen, I want to say we are blown over with the information and the knowledge and the just beautiful person that Marcia is. She's one of those humble people that achieved a lot in life, that's got so much to offer, and I really want to encourage everybody to consider taking her class, even if it's just for the general knowledge that you're going to gain from that. Marcia, thank you so much for sharing this with us, and I hope and I believe that we're going to have you back for some more classes.
Okay, well, it's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.